What is going on, YouTube world? Austin Zaback here with another YouTube video, and in today's video I got a special topic for you. We're going to be talking about how to house hack and live for free, okay? Now, I've been in the real estate industry for about 7 years now, and you would know that if you were subscribed to my YouTube channel, where we talk pretty much every day about real estate, the stock market, like business and finance. So I guess if you're brand new, then just take a quick moment and go ahead and smash that like button, as it really does help me out with the YouTube algorithm. But let's just go ahead and jump right into the video and talk about how you can house, hack, and live for free in 2020. Now, before you click off the video, okay, a lot of people are like,
Austin, I see you and you're fix and flipping real estate, you're wholesaling real estate, you have rental properties, and
kind of goes right over their head, right? They're like,
Austin, there's just no way. I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the credit score, right? I don't have the experience, and I definitely didn't have the money to start in real estate at that capacity.
And the reality of it is, that is why I'm making this video, because I want to talk to you about, look, at the end of the day, you have to live either way, right? You have to have a place to live. So you either have to rent or you can house hack. Now, house hacking is where you're essentially gonna live for free, okay? Basically for free or for very, very little money. So if you're watching the video and you've ever wanted to buy real estate, you've ever had any interest in actually investing into real estate, then I would suggest you just start out with house hacking, right? You have to have a place to live, so why not go ahead and figure out how to do it for free and have that particular house, okay, single family residence or multifamily, so it can work either for single family residence or 2 to 4 plex, okay? And I'm gonna explain why in a minute. So a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex, but just go ahead and house hack and live for free. So there's this thing called an FHA loan, okay? And an FHA loan essentially allows you to go ahead and purchase a property with a very minimal amount of money down. Now, there are some different requirements for the FHA loan. However, the FHA loan is actually a lot easier to get qualified for than like a conventional loan. So with an FHA loan, they require you to occupy the residence in which you're living in, which is why it works basically for a single family or, again, house hacking, okay, a duplex, triplex, or quadplex. You just have to live in it for at least basically up to 2 years. So with an FHA loan, all you have to put down is 3.5% down. Here's another beautiful thing about house hacking and an FHA loan, okay? If you have a lower credit score, an FHA actual loan, you can typically get approved with as little as a 580 credit score, okay? Now, with a conventional loan, you typically have to have probably a 680 up to maybe like a 740, depending on what interest rate you're trying to get. So in my personal opinion, this is really great for somebody, again, that wants to eventually invest into real estate, right? Because again, within about a year or two, you can typically move out of the property, move a tenant into the unit that you were living in, right? And then you can ultimately kind of just pursue your real estate investing kind of future, right? So, again, this is just a phenomenal way to kind of get started and ultimately live for free, right? So here's the idea. You buy, let's just call it a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex, right? You get an FHA loan, you put 3.5% down, and you move into one of the units for a minimum of, again, a year to 2 years, okay? Now, what you do is you rent out the other units. So let's just say, it's a fourplex, okay? You bought a fourplex and you moved into one of the units. You have 3 other units where those tenants, right, are gonna be paying your mortgage down, but they're pretty much gonna cover your entire mortgage. Again, depending on the area and the price in which you pay, the tenants, in theory, if you find it the right deal, will pay your mortgage for you. AKA why you're gonna be able to house hack, right? You're gonna be able to essentially just put the money down and then live for free. And I get it. Some people, they're like,
Austin, I don't want to live right next to my tenant. I don't want to have to manage that.
Like whatever the case is. But again, this is a phenomenal way for you to kind of get your foot in the door. So to kind of put it in perspective for you, okay, you go out and you find a fourplex for, let's just call it $400,000. For the simplicity of making the video, if you wanted to break it down per unit, about $100,000 a unit, okay? And obviously, you put 3.5% down, which is about $14,000, plus closing costs, of course, which I would always kind of recommend that you try to get a little bit of seller concessions if you're able to. But again, let's just assume that you pay the closing costs. Now, your mortgage payment in total is probably somewhere around $2,250, okay, give or take, depending on property taxes, depending on insurance, and etc. Now, let's just say you move into one of the units and you rent the other 3 out for very easy figuring for about $1,000 per unit. You're making $3,000 per month by renting out the other units, and your total all-in costs are about $2,250. Now, of course, it isn't obviously factoring in, any maintenance or anything like that, but let's just assume that you literally make $500 a month to live. I mean, who in the world doesn't want to make $500 a month to live? Okay, I don't know. I don't know about you, but that to me seems like a dang good idea. That, in my opinion, is the definition of house hacking, right? You literally get paid to live, or you live for free. Now, again, you got to manage those other units, right? It's going to cost you a little bit of money every month. You might have to trim the trees. You might have to mow the lawn. But again, you're living there, and a lot of that you can even do yourself. In my opinion, this is a phenomenal way to get involved in the world of kind of real estate investing, right? Your tenants are literally paying down your mortgage. The property historically is appreciating over time, and you get all of the benefits of actually owning real estate. Now, you can do this on a single family residence as well, okay? Again, it's gonna be a little bit different. You might not love the idea, but in theory, you can go buy a single family house and then you can rent out the other bedrooms, okay? I personally live in Arizona. I've been in real estate for about 7 years now, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Now, there's a town, you're probably familiar with it, called Tempe, Arizona. And it is kind of the ASU like college campus. Now, there's a lot of rental properties around ASU in Arizona where the actual landlord will rent out the individual bedrooms separately. So you'll just have pretty much a bunch of actual college kids living in a house and they're paying individual rent. Now, a lot of landlords do that, they just own the house, right? And maybe it's a 4-bedroom, 2 or 3 bathroom house, and they'll rent out the individual bedrooms. But you could do this with an FHA loan and rent out the other bedrooms and actually live in the house. So you have total control of kind of what is going on in the house, and you could manage the property. Not a bad idea if you're young, maybe you're even in college. This is truly a phenomenal way as well, a little bit different than obviously having a multifamily. So ultimately, there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of go ahead and house hack in 2020, right? It's truly a phenomenal thing that I would recommend that you do. And basically there's not a lot that is involved. So obviously, number one, you kind of got to just like make a decision, like, is this what you're going to do, right? Maybe in 2020, you're kind of looking at the market and you're like, I don't really know what is going to happen overall with the market, right? You're looking at, maybe mortgage forbearance and you're looking at everything going on in the world and you're just not entirely sure what exactly is going to happen, right? That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But maybe, you're renting an apartment and you're like, yeah, but like, I don't know if I want to buy like, a single family and just live in it all by myself because I don't know if it's the right time to buy. But at the same time, I live in an apartment and I'm paying like $1,500 a month in rent. I'm kind of just throwing it down the drain. This might be a phenomenal way for you just to kind of go ahead and get started. So ultimately, what I would recommend is that you talk to a couple of lenders and make sure that you can get approved for FHA financing, okay? Again, not that complicated to go ahead and actually get approved for. So just reach out to a couple of lenders in your area and definitely talk to them about getting approved. Once you kind of get approved and that you can actually, buy a property valued up to, whatever that number is, 200,000, 300, 400, 500, whatever, then you can go ahead and you can actually start to look for properties. What I would recommend is you start just looking on Zillow, looking on Trulia, looking on Redfin, looking on Realtor.com. And I would also obviously hire, which I talk, over and over again about, but hire a real estate agent, right? The real estate agent, and I'm a real estate agent, gets paid by the seller, right? So as a buyer, you do not have to pay the real estate agent. So you find somebody that is a true professional in the area that you're looking to kind of house hack in and tell them what it is that you're trying to do. Say, look, here's what I'm looking for. And if you find a professional that is good at what they do, let them go out and put in the work to find you that deal. Let them talk to other brokerages. Let them, kind of sift through, their network and their sphere of influence and actually find you a good deal that meets the criteria that you're looking for. Then ultimately get an inspection on the property. Make sure there's not a ton of crap wrong with the property, right? Make sure that the roof is in decent shape, the air conditioner, the heater, the foundation, there's no mold, there's no termites. then make sure that at the end of the day, you're not gonna have to move in, and put 20, 30, 40, or 50 grand into the property. Not only will it probably not qualify for FHA financing, but you're probably not gonna be able to afford to put that much money into the property. So once you kind of get all of that dialed in, then I would say just go ahead and pull, the trigger, right? Obviously, probably the last thing I guess I would dial in is make sure that the rental rates in the area are gonna cover, the overall mortgage of the property, right? So, if it's a duplex and you're gonna live in one unit and you have only one other unit, then make sure that that one other unit will rent for, roughly what your mortgage amount, with your kind of PITI, will kind of come out to. So whatever your mortgage amount is, your principal, your interest, your insurance, and your property taxes, you ultimately want the other unit or units or other bedrooms to equal about that number, so you can either live for free or you can actually make money to live. So that is pretty much it in a nutshell. That is house hacking 101 in 2020. I think it is a great way to get started in the real estate industry, okay? I actually have a couple of really good links in my description below with a couple of websites that I actually use to find, houses, okay? Distressed houses and sellers that need to sell. One is www.topredata.com and another one is www.topd4d.com. Again, I'll put all of that in the description below. Definitely go check that out. And if you haven't already, I really appreciate it if you go ahead and smash that like button, as it really does help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.